Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Breitling Super Avenger 2 chronograph. You can buy this 48mm second generation Super Avenger on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full listing for this watch with additional high resolution images, accessories included, and of course complete pricing details for this Super Avenger 2. Now you can see on my wrist 16 centimeters 6.3 inches in circumference. This watch is huge. It's bigger on the wrist than a 44mm Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore. Even though those wear large for a 44, this wears large for a 48. Likewise, the feeling of substance and the size across the wrist, this watch is an incredible 60mm from lug to lug, dwarfs a 48mm Hublot King Power or Big Bang King. This is an absolutely tremendous watch, a real monster. Monolithic, metal, heavy, substantial, and I will say stylish. It wears its weight well, and 16mm thick. It's neither thin nor excessively thick for a watch of this size. I've seen smaller Breitling watches that are quite a bit thicker. Anyway, the bottom line is that you're going to have to decide whether the extreme oversized watch look is right for you. Could I wear it with security on my wrist? Yes, I could. But with a sense of proportion, no. The watch does overlap via its lugs extending beyond the outer extremity of my wrist. So if you don't like to have that cantilever of watch out and over the edge of your wrist, and your wrist is my size, this might not be one for you. But if you have that tree trunk wrist, a wrist that's perhaps more like my leg, this could be perfect for you. And let me say that the construction quality of this case, of this bezel, of this bracelet and clasp is of such a quality that I really have to ask, if you're looking for bigger and better, you really shouldn't have to step up to the price of an Hublot. This watch delivers everything that does with additional solidity and honesty in pricing that's refreshing. Now in terms of the bracelet, you can see that it is the Professional 3 slash-cut asymmetrical. The Super Avenger 2 was originally released in 2013, a follow-up to 2004's smash hit Super Avenger. Now there were a couple of changes about the dial and bezel, the biggest being the addition of the so-called digital brushed bezel, originally seen on the Galactic series. So you have that digital, sometimes known as the Space Invaders bezel, but it's a nice brushed finish that contrasts well with the polished inner chimney of the case, and you can see that chimney stays stationary, providing a robust buffer between the mobile bezel and the somewhat fragile sapphire crystal. This helps to provide a shock buffer between the two. You can see that screws are used to hold the bezel on. This is a Breitling signature that makes it much, much harder to chip the bezel off by knocking a doorknob or drywall or a piece of submerged debris. If you are diving with the watch, it makes it much harder to accidentally remove the bezel. This is something I would actually like to see on other brands, especially considering many brands with far more fragile bezel construction charge far more for their timepieces. Breitling builds them right. In fact, these cases are incompressible to the extent that when we water test them, we have to set the water test machine for an incompressible case. It's as solid as it looks, and it's as substantial as you would suspect. The bracelet's nicely made too, all of high polish, held together by screws, not pins and sleeves. That's the way you want to see an upscale bracelet built. Likewise, from an ergonomic standpoint, you want to see large channels between the links underneath the watch so it doesn't pinch skin or pull hair. Now, in terms of the solidity of the clasp, nicely polished. It closes with a nice solid snap and then stays secure thanks to this wing emblazoned clamshell. Now, the dial itself is very handsome and quite versatile. First of all, it has the classic sporting tritone of black, white with shocks of red. This is something that is as old as motorsports chronographs themselves and continues to look fantastic with any attire. Formal enough to wear with a suit, it's also sporting enough to wear with anything, including a bathing suit. As you'll note, along with the many conversion factors on the case back, this is a 300-meter water-resistant watch. So although the chronograph may be considered, especially in Breitling guys, as a pilot's complication, the bottom line is that with a unidirectional rotating bezel that has a loomed pearl, constant seconds indicator at 9 o'clock, 300-meter water resistance, screw-down crown, this is easily a watch that you could use as your diver. And of course, as a diver, having that unidirectional bezel means you can line the loomed pearl up with the minute hand, while at the same time running the chronograph, and time two concurrent events, as long as The one timed with the bezel doesn't elapse beyond 60 minutes. Now the caliber in here is Breitling's caliber 13 COSC chronometer spec based on a modified Valjoux 7750. It is tank tough, winds with efficient unidirectional action. Because of the incredible weight of this watch, you actually don't feel the rotor wobble characteristic of the unidirectional winding 7750. It's one of the fringe benefits of the watch simply being so massive on the wrist. It smooths out the motion of the rotor. Now it has a 42-hour power reserve. Pull the crown. It does hack the balance so you can precisely synchronize the watch to a known accurate reference time, basically stops the seconds. It also has a quick set function for rapidly correcting the date should the watch run down. You can see and you can purchase this immense Breitling Super Avenger 2 on our website.